Yo, welcome back to Get Loud with Leadership. It's your favorite co-host, Chala Dawson,
Your actual favorite co-host, Michaela Cody.
and our famous guest.
Bria Laws.
All right, so today's topic, we're going to be talking about self-love. So,
What do y'all think? I feel like in society, we're having like a really big like period like around self-love where like people are realizing that like it's really important and it's
mhm.
something that like we as a society need to like grow and learn more about. What are y'all's like opinions or what are y'all's experiences that y'all have had with that?
um, I think before we get into this, we need to get on a topic. Like, what is self-love? Like,
That's
how can we break
true.
what self-love is? Because I know one type of self-love is loving yourself,
hmm
having respect for yourself, and
Mm.
having the best outcome that comes your way. So if we could break that up into three subjects, then that would be great.
Right. So I think what is self love? Deep question. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it loving yourself
I
even
think
more than you love like what your partner, your
mm,
family?
I think it's having like respect. It's having empathy for yourself. I feel like, and
Mm,
like not judging yourself so harshly that like you're your own worst critic. Like it's being able to see. I feel like that you may not be like the best person
hmm.
you can be, but it's not like beating yourself up about that. It's loving yourself enough to critique yourself so
Okay,
that you
okay,
can
okay, okay,
grow, I
okay.
think.
What about you?
Oh,
What up?
I think it's like yes, like loving your caring for yourself and like not worrying about what other people think about you,
Mhm.
especially like with social media today. People constantly compare themselves to like, oh, I'm not pretty enough. Oh, like she's like uh prettier prettier than me. She has like a prettier face
Mhm.
and like I'm like super chubby and all this stuff.
Mhm.
But like it's more like you essentially like loving yourself, not gonna lie. Like
I mean, but don't it, I feel like it takes a while before you can
It does.
actually self love yourself.
Like it's really easy to say like, "Oh, self-love is really important," but actually like putting that in action super rough. Like
Because I get like improvement is a big thing for trying to love yourself because you might have these self doubts and stuff like that. And after you like them self doubts becomes feel for like what you're trying to do or pursue in life. So like in middle school, I have a lot of self love back in middle school. So I'm like, you know what, I'm finna change that. I started hitting the gym and stuff like that. Started
mhm.
becoming a better person, and I think in time I started to love myself more for who I am than what I wanted to become.
That's real, and that's really important because I feel like so much like we put like so much of our identity and our worth into
Hmm.
like the type of person we want to become and all of our goals that like we don't take the time to like appreciate and get to know like the person we are now. And so I feel like it's kind of like counter like into what's the word? Is it counterintuitive?
Yeah,
yeah.
kind of
Okay.
into it. Fact
um
check.
that like we want to grow into these person, but you can't grow as a person without knowing where you are right now.
Mm.
And I feel like part of self-love is really not so much focusing on all the things you want to be, but it's taking like the little steps to work with the current self that you have and appreciating that.
I mess with it. I mess with it.
What do you think? Like, do you have like any experiences like with self-love that like any struggles, any like good moments that you want to share?
Um I mean, yes, okay. So in middle school, I like just came out of COVID and
Oh my
I
god,
was
COVID.
I was comparing myself to others a lot
Right.
because of how I looked,
Mm.
and that really put me in a dark place. But over time, I think not worrying about what people said about me and how
Mm.
um how people perceive me as,
Mm-hmm.
I think I started to love myself again, and that put life back into me. Like there was like
Yes.
a larger spark in my eyes that
What,
people didn't see before.
well, was it
Mhm.
like an accomplished moment that made you think that, or it was just like a random spontaneous?
Like gradual.
Yeah.
It was definitely gradual.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's another question I wanted to ask. You brought up a good point. Like, how much value, I guess, should we put into other people's opinions of ourselves? Because I love the idea of when people are like, oh, don't care about what people think about you. Like, it's all like you
But
should only like think about how you feel about yourself. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes other people's opinions of you can help help you grow as a person. So I feel like
Mhm.
you can't completely like block off other like how other people feel about you, but you can't let it control you at the same time. So like what do y'all think is like the balance between that?
that's hard to say because like okay, we all want to know what someone's talking about us.
Yeah.
We all want to know what's in the back of that person's head when they first thing they think about us. But far enough letting it trying to control your actions or what you do in life, that's a stretch. But I don't know.
But like, okay, my take on it is like this. So like say someone, for example, is like a bully. They're like a
Mhm.
mean person.
Right.
And so like they could just go on with their lives thinking, "Oh, my opinion of myself is the only thing that matters. Like as long as I feel that I'm doing all right, then I'm good. I don't have to worry about what other people think of me."
Okay, then we
But
have to draw the line of having a big ego and then self-love.
okay, I could see that. But like I feel like sometimes people's opinions of you, if they come like in genuine concern or in genuine like love, you don't necessarily have to like completely do a whole 180 on yourself, but it can make you be like more introspective, I feel like,
Okay.
and not necessarily like pick yourself apart, but like
Mhm.
see where you need to grow. I feel
Okay.
like sometimes, because sometimes we don't see things in ourselves that other people see, I guess. And so I feel like I have a hard time like balancing at least like how much should I care about other people's opinions. I think in my opinion, I probably care about other people's opinions of me like way too much, like especially authority figures, I'd feel like. And that's something that I think is an important like aspect of self-love as well, like
Mhm.
not letting like authority figures like balancing out yourself and your value with like the authority figures around you,
Mhm.
because so often I feel like we put them on a pedestal that's
Oh,
like, oh well, they're
very
this person,
much.
they have this power, so obviously they must know better than me, they must
Yeah.
be better than me. And that's not always the case sometimes.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. I have a serious question.
Mhm.
So, do y'all love the current self now or like past current self?
That's another thing, like
Okay, so we all had big changes before we be able to love ourselves, right?
yeah.
We all had big changes. So can we say we love ourselves right now, like right here and now, or do we love the past self that was all fun, didn't worry about anything, it didn't really mess with us mentally?
See, that's a tough question, because I feel like everybody would love to be able to say like, "Oh yeah, I love myself now. Like I'm not worried about
Mhm.
like my past self." But the reality is like I am still worried about that, you know? Like I look back at like myself in like middle school sometimes, in like elementary school, and I'm like, I loved that version of me, like the carefree
That's what I'm
version, I guess,
saying.
so
Yes.
much. And so it's hard, I guess, not to get like caught up in that nostalgia, I
Hmm.
guess, too. And that's a part of, my mom was just telling me about this the other day. That's a part of like self-love too, not focusing so much on your future self and not focusing so much on your past self as well, but like
Right.
learning to be where you are.
Okay.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I definitely love my past self more than I love my present self,
Hmm.
Mainly because I was less self-conscious about what other people thought, and I just didn't really care. I like people would like ridicule me, and I'd be like, just throw that off my shoulder. Like that
Mhm.
didn't affect me at all. But now, like they'll say that to me, and I'll take it to heart.
Yeah.
Like I'll
Mm.
take it to the grave with me.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another important thing though. I feel like I liked myself like previously because like I could shake off like anything, but also I recognize now that like a good part of like growing and learning to not necessarily take so much of people's opinions of me as to like completely change my identity, but like to recognize that I still have faults and
Mhm.
because I'm not gonna lie, you guys, like younger me had an ego. Okay. Younger me had an ego and I loved the confidence. That's
Right.
another part that I loved it. But
Mm.
also there were things about myself that I feel like I needed to change. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm glad that I've changed them now because I feel like it's made me like a better person and more, I guess, more empathetic and more aware as to like how my actions affect people.
Okay. Okay. So let's try to branch off the idea part.
Mhm.
okay.
So can we say that our friends or the people around us really affect who we are and who we become?
Mm.
Now, you might have a lot of people that has a lot of friend groups. Does that make them a better person and want to love themselves even more than what they give out to their friends?
See, that's another really good, like, I feel like conversation about like the persona
Mhm.
that people put on, like, I guess like I know sometimes like at my lowest like moments, like I had tons of friends, I was very well liked, and
Mm.
I
Mhm.
had it seemed like I had like everything, like the good grades, the friends, like all of it.
Right.
But and then sometimes like in my moments where like I was known as like the weird kid, or I was known as like the weird kid, or my grades weren't perfect. Those were like the times where I really felt like the most connected with myself and like
Mhm.
happiest. So I feel like it's hard to like weigh how much a person's like image necessarily like
Affects you.
correlates to their self-love.
Mhm.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well,
Because it's basically your identity.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I go to an all white school, most
Mm.
majority. So, a lot of what other people thought of me was different than how my parents and the people I knew that looked like me
Mhm.
thought of me. So I think it kind of like varies, but at the same time, um like loving yourself and
Mhm.
um having like your own experience definitely determines like how much you love yourself.
That's another thing. I feel like the environment that you're in can affect so much of your
Oh,
self-love.
100%.
Like
100%.
when you were just saying like you were at a majority white school, like when I was there, it was like I went to two majority
Mhm.
white schools. I don't know if I should name. I probably said it before, but I'm not gonna say it again, like the names of the schools. But
Mhm.
I felt like people didn't get me. I was known as like weird, and I was known as like one of the ugly kids. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was known as like one of the not one of like the not prettier people. I
Mhm.
was just like a smart kid. Like
Right.
people
Mm.
knew that. But whereas when I'm in like public school now, I don't know the racial demographics of it exactly, but it's really, really diverse. Like now I can like be myself and
Mhm.
like
Mm.
I can when I'm around like people who look like me, like people black people, like when I'm around people who look like me, people who have the same like kind of like culture as me, like I feel so much more appreciated. Like realizing, I guess, like when I stepped into more like black spaces, like it was like a whole revelation, like, whoa, I'm not ugly. Like, because there are so many things that, like, if you're in the wrong environment and all these people are saying about you, you genuinely like absorb them. So I feel like a lot of self-love is knowing when to like take yourself out of that environment and put yourself in another one.
Mhm.
Okay. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But a lot of people don't have enough willingness to take themselves out that environment.
Mm.
So they might stay in an environment that's totally toxic and somehow like manage to still find self-love. Like that that's like the saying, in a dark tunnel there's always a light.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for those people that's in that dark tunnel and find that light, then you're a special type of self-love. Because other people go through what familyship love, go through friendship love, go through relationship love. There's so many other loves out there,
Mhm.
but for you to be in a toxic community like that over and over and over again and still find the happiness and joyness of finding love, then that's crazy.
It really
And
is. I feel like that goes to say like I'm trying to find the word, the like strength of the person, like to be in that environment and still find love. I'm just gonna like be honest, I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. I really haven't gotten there yet because I can see it in myself, like when I'm in those like predominantly white environments, those environments where I feel like other people are so heavily judging me. I judge myself and
Mhm.
you can like see it. Like my doctors have told me like once I left like that school that I look so much happier. My parents have told me, like everybody around me has basically like said like you have like a certain light to you now, like now that you're
Yeah.
not in that toxic environment. So I'm going to say like yes, you do need to find like your light even in toxic environments and have like the strength
Mhm.
not to care so much about like other people's opinions of you, but also it's really easy to say that and it's really hard to actually like be in that environment because I feel like we have like humans have this like instinct to be like, okay, well, what the majority thinks, that
Mhm.
must be the truth. So like if the majority of the people around you think this about me, that must be the truth. Whereas like it's just not true
Mhm.
and all the time. And also the majority like in my past school versus the majority in my current school completely different. So I feel like now though, like a lot of people in my current school like me. And it's hard to like admit it, but I feel like I like myself more
Mhm.
because other people like me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But also with me liking myself more, I let myself like be more authentic, I guess. And so I'm learning to like I guess let go of the way other people think about me because I'm starting to like myself
Mhm.
more.
Mhm.
So I think like you have to it's a balance. Like you have to get in an environment where you can like grow,
Mhm.
like you can't expect, like
I think that's a real question. Like,
mhm.
how many people has been putting on a fake persona, like just a fake mask around people to say, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that," but really
Mhm.
you're
Yeah.
hurting inside.
Yeah.
Yes. Like literally, I at least my sophomore year. Now, high school for me has been rough, you guys. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. Like academically, yes, but more so like internally, like with my self-worth and stuff. And so like I remember like I post on my Instagram and stuff like, oh, I'm doing this vacation, I'm going to this event, I won this award, and my life just looks like wow, she's got it all together. She's got it great.
Oh.
But really, like every day after school, I'm going home to my room and I'm like crying for like an hour.
Mhm.
Mm.
And so I feel like a part of self love is learning to let those personas fall down and let your because when you're like exuding a lie and when you're like projecting a lie of like yourself and like a
Mhm.
facade,
Mhm.
like it starts to like you start to internalize it and you start to feel like even more bad about yourself, like why can't I actually be this person, and why did these other people, why did they get to be so happy and why am I like this? So I feel like a beginning, like a really crucial beginning to like self-love, is letting the walls down and letting yourself like admit like, okay, I'm struggling,
Definitely,
and like
for
that's
sure.
okay. It's
Mhm.
okay like where I am, and I don't have to like put on this like front and this facade that like everything is great in my life.
Have you ever tried to put on a fake persona or either like
Oh,
a mask?
all the time. Especially at school and at home. Um, I would pretend like everything was fine and dandy, like everything was okay. And then I'd get home and then my parents would be like, "Oh, how was school?" I'd be like, "Oh, it was okay. It was great." And then I get in my room and I like
Ball.
cry.
Yeah.
And then I have to like man up and do my homework. And then after that, I would like take a shower, uh debrief, like think about everything that happened through the day, and essentially like self-evaluate myself
Mhm,
and how I can make that day better for the next day,
mhm.
and just go to sleep and keep moving on through life.
Okay.
That's another thing, like, I feel like like what you were saying, putting on that facade,
Mhm.
it's so tiring, and
Yes.
it's so draining because, like, you're kinda just, like, when I was doing it at least, you're just,
Mhm.
like, on autopilot in, like, survival mode for the whole day, like, "Okay, I have to act like this, I have to smile at this person, I have to wave at this person, talk to this
Yeah.
person,"
Yes.
and then when you get home, it just, like, all crumbles down, and it's so exhausting, and I feel like it can be, like, really, like, cathartic at those points, like, when you can get home and, like, close your door in your room and just, like, finally, like, be real with yourself and cry. So I feel like back to what I was saying, like, a huge part of self-love is, like, letting yourself struggle and letting yourself, like,
Mhm.
express that and
Mhm.
not have to pretend, because when you pretend to with other people, you're pretending with yourself too.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out. So does it come on like automatically, or like you have to be at your lowest for it just to pop up?
Like what?
Like to put on a fake persona in front of people, it just come on
Mm.
automatically, or today's not the day. All right, let me just get through the day, and next day get through the day. Like, does it happen automatically, or you have to be at your lowest point
I
to?
feel like for me, like I was at my lowest point, but
Okay.
also it happened like automatically. Like I didn't have to literally like vividly remember like in my sophomore year last year, like I'd get up, I'd be like myself, like my mom's driving me to school, and as soon
Mhm.
as like I step into the school building, it's just like a switch. Like, okay, new person, new me, new like persona, and I'd be
Okay.
it was really crazy because I was talking to my friends from school about this like now, and I was talking about like how I was really struggling like in sophomore year, and they're like, we didn't know, because like I was really like the happy friend, and I
Mhm.
Mhm.
was like the bubbly, like laughing, like
Yes.
happy go lucky friend. And so like it was all like fake for like the time where I was really struggling. Like I'd get home and my mom would be like, "How's your day?" And I'd literally be like, "I can't even talk right now. I'm so like
Mentally
drained
drained. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
doing all of that." So I feel like
Uh,
it was an automatic thing for me, but it
mhm.
was also kind of like it was like a survival mode thing, like I guess. Like I felt like if I was real about like who I was
Mhm.
in front of people and how I was feeling, it'd be like it'd give them even more to like judge me on, and I like judge myself even more.
I think that's where mental health comes
Mhm.
into play,
Mhm.
because if you're constantly pursuing bad thoughts into your head, then there's a problem.
Mhm.
Something's amiss, right? And we have to find that solution and cancel out quickly.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. That I think that's another like crucial thing. Like, the point have being able to recognize the point where it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm having a bad day or a bad week or something like that, versus like I'm actually like really struggling like internally, and I need to like seek like external help to like fix
Yeah.
this. Like
Mhm.
I thought like I guess in my sophomore year, like I judged myself so hard on like what all of my teachers thought about me, what my peers thought about me. And I guess for a while it kind of like kept me structured, I guess. It like kept me like in line, like, okay, I can't break.
Right.
But like
Mhm.
at a certain point during the year, it was just like one thing happened that was just like flicked the whole like
Yeah.
card castle down or whatever. And it was just like I literally like cannot anymore, and I didn't know what to do at that point. And I had to like take a step back and recognize like, okay, this isn't just like a bad day or a bad week or something. This is something like actually going on. And so I got like diagnosed with anxiety. And so I thought like getting diagnosed with anxiety, I was like, well, this is just like another thing that's like I can't do right. This is another thing to like judge myself on. But like taking the steps to like manage that anxiety and manage like other people's thoughts about me made me
Mhm.
realize that like it was something I couldn't necessarily like control,
Mhm.
and I had to recognize that like I couldn't control that, and I couldn't like keep dogging on myself and like
Right.
blaming myself for this. And once I think I realized that, and now that I'm like out of this situation, like my anxiety I feel like has decreased like tremendously now that I'm out of that environment, and now that I've like really came to awareness about like what was going on, that like wait, what was I saying?
Can y'all remember like the previous rough environments y'all was in?
Yeah, vividly.
Vividly?
Yeah, vividly. No, and I feel like sometimes it'll still hit me
Mhm.
today, because like whereas in that environment, I was kind of like just in survival mode, like
Mhm.
trying to like get everything done, just like keep going. Now that I'm
Right.
like out of it, I'm like I go to sleep sometimes, or like I'm laying in bed and I'm like thinking about it, and then I'm like I'll have to get up again, and I'm like, wait a minute, that was crazy. Like that environment was actually so toxic, and I didn't realize it until I was like out of it and
Mhm.
out of that mindset. Like I had normalized it, I guess, so much in my head that like it was just like, okay, this is just how it is, and I have to like adapt to deal with it. No.
I think that's how it is for everybody. Like from what outside we see, everybody else tell us like a different story. They tell us, bro, it's toxic. You need to get out of it. It's toxic. But really, you trying to self manipulate yourself into
Yeah.
thinking, okay, yeah, I could take this on a chin. It's whatever. Okay, it was just little stuff. It was little stuff. You're telling yourself it's little stuff, but actually, it's a big
It's
problem.
a big problem.
And then once you're already out of the toxic situation, you're like, you think about it. Dang,
That's
I would.
crazy.
I actually let that happen.
Yes. Like, this is another thing, like, back in middle school, like, I had this friend group, and I'm not gonna get into the details of it because
Mhm.
low-key, the beef is still kind of there, I'm not gonna lie. But I had this friend group, and I let this friend group toss and turn me all upside down and round, you guys. Like, and I didn't realize until like I left the school and I
Mhm.
left the friend group. It was like during summer, like a year later, I was just like going about my business and like thinking about it. And then I literally had to pause and be like, wait a minute, why did I let them do that? Like why was I taking that?
Yes.
Like it's really crazy, and I feel like that also shows like your self growth though, because like now like that you're out of that situation, like hindsight is 2020.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like you can really see like how much your like self and your identity has changed. Like I wouldn't let anybody treat me like that ever again.
Mm.
Like thinking about it is like I want to like go back in time and kind of like shake myself and be like, snap out of it.
Yes.
What are you doing?
It, it gets like that to a point, and then everything goes down the drain as soon as you realize. And I'm like, bro, okay. They had this moment. This was recent. One of my teammates told me a different play. Mind you, this was during a football game. One of my teammates told me a different play. We ran it. They end up scoring a touchdown. I'm on the sideline. I'm talking to my personal coach. I'm talking to him. One of the other coaches comes butting in. He's crashing on me and everything. Mind you, the old me would have just took it. Okay, it's whatever. I'll do it the next play. But something over me shifted. I was like, you know what? Who is he talking to? I don't know what it was, but something inside me. Okay, 50, let's say 75% of me just wants to say, okay, just let them have it. It is what it was. They scored. It's not a big deal. Boy, that 25% just said,
No.
it just took over me. And I still to this day don't know what that was.
No, and I remember that happened to me too. You know, when I was at my old school, one time, like, a teacher, my least favorite teacher in the world, God, ugh, like, I can feel like the ick I have for her right now. But like she was yelling at me, like, and she was giving on and on and on. And it was at a point in my life where, like, I was just like taking everything. So I was just like, I'm standing there, I'm letting her like go in on me, and I'm just like, and so I literally start crying. I'm like bawling in front of her, and I'm like, can I go to the bathroom, like get a tissue or something? She's like, no, you're gonna stay here and listen to what I have to say. And so I'm just like, okay, all right. And so I called my mom after that, like, obviously. And my mom handled it, but also when I got home after school, she was like, don't you ever take that again. Like, and I was like, what do you mean? She was like, don't you ever take that again. I was like, no, but then I'll be like disrespectful. She's like, don't let people disrespect you, and don't let people diminish your worth because you think they have some type of power or authority over you. Because no matter, like, a teacher and a student, obviously there's some type of power imbalance there, but at the end of the day, y'all are both human, and y'all both have the same feelings and emotions. So don't let people belittle you because you feel like they have this made up power over you, and you got to let them know sometimes. And so I remember this moment, like, it happened like again closer to the end of the year. She was just like going at me again, and because I had like an assignment that, like, I was supposed to turn in to her. I guess it was after I had been out for a while, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna turn this in today, and I'm gonna turn this in today. And she was like, you know, you really should have had that in before this. Like, you know, I should have gotten
like
something
like
from you by now. Like, this
like
is
people
kind of
like that.
unacceptable. And so I was thinking, and at first I was like, you know what, I'll just, I don't feel like dealing with this today. I'll just let her like have it. But then I was like, no, I was like, I respond back, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of nasty, you guys. I respond back, and I was like, so I would have, if you would have given me because she never gave me a due date for any of this, like, to turn it in. So I was like, I would have, you would have given me a due date, but I was never given a due date. So I was turning this in on my time. And if you have a problem with that, please go talk to my counselor or one of the other administrators, because
I get sassy with it.
Because her whole problem with me was that, like, I wasn't communicating with her properly. So I was like, and maybe you should improve on your communication to me next time and let me know when you want things turned in. So I'm not gonna lie, I look back and I'm like, ooh, that was kind of nasty, but at the same time, that was needed, and she didn't act like that again. So
wait, I'm curious on her response. Did she respond?
She was like, okay. She literally said, get it to me when you can. I was like, because I felt like at that moment, if I would have just like let her,
Mhm.
like walk over me, it would have been like this constant thing. And we still had like a month or two of school left. And I was
Right.
like,
Mhm.
I'm not taking this anymore. I'm about to establish a line. Like, you're not about to talk to me like this. I don't know who you think you are, but I'm about to let you know who I am.
Oh, okay.
So, and I felt like that's a moment that like
Keyword, you know what? Keyword. Stick it to 'em.
stick it to 'em
Stick it to 'em.
sometimes. That was a moment that like I needed that, and I needed to like have that action
Mhm.
to like really let myself and let my mind know that like, okay, she's a teacher, she's an authority figure, whatever. I'm Michaela Cody.
Yes.
Like,
Michaela Cody.
you're not about to talk to me like this and expect me to just take it and go along with it and say, oh yeah, okay. No, because that's not who Michaela Cody is. That's a
Right.
doormat right there.
Yeah.
I'm Michaela Cody. And so I feel like having those moments sometimes where you just like snap,
Mhm.
they're really important to self-love, because you
Actually.
can really see like, whoa, I am that person. Like,
It's basically just taking a step back from who you actually are and just letting that other persona just take control.
Mhm.
yes.
Ugh.
And so I feel like overall in
Mhm.
terms of self-love, like it's a battle,
Mhm.
Yes.
it's
Very much.
easier said than done, but it's all in all a lot of steps you have to take, and it's acknowledgement, it's your environment, and it's your actions too. You can't just think it and think I want to be better. Sometimes
Mhm.
you really have to like put in the work and do it,
Mhm.
and that's how you're gonna like get to see those results like inside.
Mhm.
And so I feel like you guys, it speaking to y'all, it'll be hard sometimes. I'm not gonna say like it's just gonna be like easy 1 2 skip a few then you're done.
Yeah.
But keep going, because it all works out in the end, and the relief you get and the satisfaction that you get with yourself, it's greater than any of the trials and the tribulations you've had to go through before. So
Remember, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
yup. So that is all for today, you guys. Peace and love yourself, and come back next week for Get Loud with Leadership. Love y'all and
Love
love
y'all.
yourselves.
Yep.
Make sure you like.